21 million Bitcoin. To me, it ought to be everyone's imperative to own one.
Yeah, like you get one of 21 million. Like,
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Spread out over the billions of people across the planet, because it is a global currency.
Right.
And it's proven that it is being adopted at an increasing rate. It isn't at a declining rate. And I don't think anyone's going to argue about if its rate of being used and purchased and owned and kept and in demand of is increasing, because it is. So, I mean, it's crazy to me that people are still scared of it. I mean, I understand that it's because of the volatility, because yeah, it could go down by a significant margin if you get out of it, but it goes up and it crashes. Everyone's like, but what if it crashes? It's going to crash. It's Bitcoin. It's going to crash on its way up.
It's like it's 12 years old. Like it's 12 years old. We're talking about an asset that is 12 years old.
Adolescent asset.
Yeah, I mean it's a child. I mean it's literally been
It's a preteen.
Yeah, not yeah. like this shit's brand new. I don't know. Yeah. So you said that people are afraid. Like, so to be clear, there are people who should be afraid of it. There's a lot of people who have staked their entire worldview on Bitcoin not being a thing, and I think there are a lot of people who have I say a lot of people, like every government that issues fiat currency, all the banks that don't accept it already, people who have invested their entire life savings into other assets. But the cool thing about Bitcoin is that it is really easy to liquidate in order to get it. If you wanted to buy a bunch of gold, $1 million worth of gold, say, you're probably gonna have to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
If I wanted to buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin, if I had $1 million, I could literally plug my Ledger wallet into my computer and do that right now, and no one could tell me I can't.
Right. Even though there are increasing restrictions coming with the new KYC laws, and coins are becoming under more and more scrutiny, and the excuse being used by regulators is money laundering, terrorism, all of these crazy potentials that, okay, yeah, that kind of stuff exists, but by and large, that's not the majority of what is going on these exchanges. It's this approach of, okay, what can we do really to get involved, because they can't kill it. I don't believe that, or they would have. Or
it's beyond the point of no return.
Or an alternative look on it too, just being open to, okay, why is it here still? Is that they are complicit in it as well and are invested in it big time, so either they're against it, or
exactly
governmental institutions across the world,
the Fed, the World Bank, the lizard people,
everyone discussing restrictions on it.
Yeah.
It's like these entities that are the current status quo, who could be to a degree replaced by it. Then it's like either it's operating as it is, and because they can't make it go away, which it appears like it could be that, or it's because truly they don't want it to go away. And then it's like, what does that mean if they actually want this going down? Because the ideology that's often correlated to this movement is that it's us against them being the status quo, the controlled currencies of the world. What if they don't want it to go away and could are complicit in that there is an outcome here, even though I don't know what that outcome is, that they are experiencing a positive outcome from that.
Yeah, so
what is that?
Yeah. So I mean, we keep on saying they. Like a lot of times,
SEC,
the
Fed, everyone who's in discussions about monetary policy regarding it, China's.
Okay, yeah. So thanks for bringing up China. So for a long time, a serious concern that Satoshi Nakamoto was basically an imaginary person created by some Chinese deep state agent, and there was some chance that basically China was heavily invested into the establishment of the Bitcoin network for the purposes of destabilizing the dominant paradigm monetary system in the world, being the United States.
Right, I've heard this.
Yeah, and so that, I think, is proven now to be wrong, because China has actively kicked all of their miners out of their country, which, in my opinion, is a good thing. I think that the drop in hash rate and the fact that everyone's shitting themselves that their Bitcoin isn't worth much right now relative to when they bought it is good in the short term. That is a good thing. Hash rate will go back up after all the miners that were displaced get relocated to places like fucking Namibia and Texas. So things will get better in that regard. But you also have, and I would say that this is probably provable, nations like Russia actively investing in things like cryptocurrency because of the exact same reason why people thought China did. Because it is a threat to
USD as the gold
USD,
standard.
yeah, and not only the USD, but to the pound, to all of the other Western currencies that currently sort of underpin the modern global banking system. Yeah, I think that there's a very strong likelihood that this digital, what's China's currency again? Yuan. The digital yuan, or whatever they're talking about, like the state-sponsored cryptocurrency, which, if anyone's interested in that, it is fascinating how fucked up that is. Like, that shit is literally like the worst thing I've ever heard. But I think that there might end up being a push with the pressure that the United States and its allies are going to be under over the next 50 years to adopt something similar to it, or risk total destabilization of the current power structure. We're down a path of no return right now with the way that we print money. It's literally, I mean, our fiscal foundations are built on sand at this point. After 2008, we should have never bailed out those banks, and we should have just, I argue with Clay about this all the time. He's like, dude, you don't know what you're saying. You're literally like espousing like total breakdown of the modern economic system if you don't bail out the banks and fix things after 2008. But the fact is, like, we're gonna have to deal with that at some point, right? You can't just, and I'm stating something that people always say, but like, you can't just kick the can down the road forever. And so I think
Rip the Band-Aid, or are we going to add a new Band-Aid?
Correct. And so the only way I really